What's up, math scholars and math haters? This is Mr. W. Today we're going to tackle question 31 in the 6th grade math questions that North Carolina released this past school year. We can see that we have a table where the ratio of y to x is always the same, and we're trying to find out what the value of the missing number is. There's a couple different ways we can do this. They both essentially involve the same idea, which is number tables and proportions as an extension of ratio. So we'll go ahead and get started with this. Okay, so the first way that I would do this is I would just go through each pair of rows until I got to my answer. And the way I would do that is that I would look at cross-multiplying in every 2 rows, or in every group of 2 rows, and just to make sure that this pattern keeps going, because if 2 times 10 is equal to 4 times 5, then this pattern is good. They haven't made a typo on this problem or anything like that. And so I would go ahead and find that 2 times 10 equals 20. 4 times 5 equals 20. So just use cross multiplication to test this pattern and make sure that it works. And this is one way that we solve proportions. So you could see like 2 over 4 and 5 over 10 in fractions, and you would use cross multiplication to test them. You'd use the same idea. And so now I'm going to go ahead and do another cross multiplication to find my unknown number. And I'm going to say that 4 times something, I don't know what it is, but I know that it's equal to 10 times 10. And now whether I use my times tables or my calculator or whatever, I know that 10 times 10 equals 100. And at this point, I'll break out my fact families, or my properties of equations, and I'll say that if 4 times something equals 100, then 100 divided by 4 will get me that same unknown number, and will get me, finally, the value of that unknown number. And 100 divided by 4, whether I do that in my calculator or my head, will give me 25. And I just realized you couldn't see some of the work I did, but I think you were able to keep track based on what else you could see. All right. Now that's the first way. The other way is that I actually go ahead and find this ratio and set up another number table and use a very similar process. Now if I see that it's the ratio of y to x, I can just start with my smallest numbers and say that this is a ratio of 5 to 2. I'll set up a number table, and I'm kind of flipping this around a little bit because the problem flipped it around. I want to see that this works whether or not, or whatever order our letters are in. So for my number table, if my y is 5, my x has to be 2. And if my x is 10, my y is what? And at this point, I'm going to use the other trick for solving proportions or number tables or anything like that. And I'm going to look for a pattern where I can multiply or divide going up to down or right to left. And I think the easiest one here is going to be that I see 2 and 10, and I think, okay, I'm just multiplying by 5. So 2 times 5 gives me 10. 5 times 5 gives me, and again, whether I use, let me move that so you can see, whether I use times tables or whatever, 5 times 5 will give me 25. So either method gave us the same answer, the answer of 25, and I go to my answer choices and I see that that is choice C. And that's it. That's all we need to do.